Shane,
What's up,
thank
brother?
you for your time,
Yes,
my
sir.
brother.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Beautiful house.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you. So how you introduce yourself, my brother?
Yeah, I'll give you guys a quick rundown about myself. So I started, let me take you way back to the elementary school days. I taught myself how to play drums. My whole life I was in a band with my brother. So we did our own tours. We did our own merch, our own marketing from really like 8th grade all the way to like 18. I remember my mom, like she had signed us up to play music at like a marathon in our local town. And so like we just sat our stuff up right in the middle of the street and we had people running all around us. And that was like the start of it. I mean, I was probably 4th grade at that time. And my mom, I always call her the momager because she was always helping us when we first started, you know, putting us in classes, getting us shows, always just trying to do what she could to help and always, you know, support us at the end of the day. So I did that for like 10 years with my brother. You know, he still does the music now. That's my first passion is music, you know, is entertainment music. And so when I was 18, you know, it's hard to make a living playing the drums, just like it is to be an artist or, you know, a creator, especially, you know, this is 6 years ago too. So even harder back then. And I decided I kind of want to get in the business side. I always want to be a business owner as well. So I figured what's better than merging entertainment and business. So that's when I started my first management company in LA. It's called Future Self Management. So it was more so like, just, you know, like not necessarily just focusing on the now, like how are you as an artist or a creative gonna, you know, protect your future self, you know? So we focused a lot on like investments and helping people diversify their money. Like, okay, you might get this money from streaming, but now how are you gonna use that and reinvest it to, you know, be good for a lifelong, for your whole life? Because so many artists, athletes, people go bankrupt all the time because they don't know how to manage their money. You know, and it's like you should never have that much money and athletes not be able to manage it. Exactly.
Right. There's a lot. So growing up, I mean, just you want to make it as playing drums, right? What's the biggest challenge in your like childhood? Like
for the music specifically?
I mean, in life. My biggest challenge was my brother. When I lost my brother was, I think, my awakening moment. Mm-hmm. So what's your biggest challenge on the journey was?
Honestly, no, I would say I'm blessed. Like, I don't think I've had a lot of crazy challenges. Like, for instance, my dad, he lost both of his parents when he was 12.
Right.
You know, so like, that's like a crazy challenge he had growing up his whole life. Me, I've been very blessed. I've had a very supportive family. I always had good friends around me and, you know, I kept my circle tight. I mean, I would say the biggest challenge for me was getting like the courage to just like at 18, move my life from San Francisco to LA by myself, you know, new city.
Yeah.
You know, so it's almost like I put myself in that position, but I always like challenging myself. So I gave myself that challenge to go and just put myself in the world. I always was a little bit more like, I was always a social person, but more closed off. I didn't like to take big chances or big risks.
Right.
And, you know, to become a successful entrepreneur, of course, you have to.
That's powerful.
So I made myself that challenge, I think.
So now as a business owner, you're working with the biggest names. You're doing a lot of work, man. Like you inspire us every day. So what's your biggest challenge as a business owner today? Like where do you see it? The leveraging maybe, executing maybe, or having more clients maybe, or the system? I mean, every business owner has a challenge, right? Mm-hmm. So what's your challenge today in business?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I think fundamentally, like the back end systems, I think that's important for every business. When we first started, like we didn't really have any systems in place, you know. It's more so just word of mouth, like, hey, you know, you're almost hustling, right? So that's like when you turn that hustle into a business is when you get those systems in place, the processes, you start hiring a team. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges for us starting off, was like really getting our systems and all of our back end, you know. And even to this day, it's like it's never ending. We're always redoing our systems in the back, you know, especially with AI. There's so many new platforms that we are finding out about every day that we always want to implement into our business.
That's wonderful.
So it's really a never ending.
I think this is something changed. I think people have to change, like from like transferring from hustling to a business. It's called change. Like I remember Nokia when they didn't change and they out of business in no time, right? So, bro, there is a lot around you, right? You see artists, as you know, business owners, professional people. And you just say that there is a lot of them, they don't move or they don't manage their money right. And that's why they lose it. So from there, do you think the challenge there is their mindset or their knowledge or their ego? Or what do you think? Like why sometimes people, they refuse to learn sometimes or take it?
I definitely think it's a mix between all three. Some people definitely have that ego, you know, where they don't want to listen to anyone. They want to do it their way. And that's, you know, it's hard to work with people like that.
So you don't, that's my next question going to be. So do you work with this type of people? I work with like well-known people, especially like in the Middle East. I feel like as a life coach, it's been so difficult sometimes to tell him what to do or what's wrong that he's doing because his ego. Like I feel like the ego is my biggest challenge by operating with them. Like, oh, you don't know how I'm supposed to do it. I'm like, no, you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to do like what makes you happy. If that doesn't make you happy, I don't think you're supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, the ego, and they just think this is what they know, this is what they're gonna do, and they're not open to do better. But they have a life coach as a lifestyle, you know, that, oh, I have my life coach. Like, you know, before I went to my therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's different.
Uh-huh.
But they don't listen to both of them, you know. So how you do that? Because your job when you work with people to multiply their income, you know, to change their mind, their life and business, and how you deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is getting people to listen, you know. Like for me, I'll give you an example. My dad used to tell me tons of things growing up, like, you know, oh, treat people like this, or don't act like this, you know, or chew with your mouth closed, simple things, whatever. And you might not listen to him, but then I would, let's say 4 years later, someone else would tell me the same thing. And I'd be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, you know? Mm-hmm. So a lot of the time I feel like it's two things. It's personal experience. Like people, you have to go through that experience to really learn from it. Like I was just talking about this last night. You could watch all these podcasts and books to prepare yourself for being an entrepreneur, but at the end of the day, you're probably still going to make those mistakes 100%. In the moment, you know, like that's right. The best way to learn, just by doing it and learning, you know, and that personal experience. That's why I love traveling. I love meeting people. I love doing podcasts because you're just meeting people, you're experiencing things. And that's truly the best way to learn. You know, like that's I said, right. We could sit here and try to prepare as much as we want. And I totally agree that, you know, proper preparation, you know, equals perfection at the end of the day. Like the more you're prepared and the more you practice, the more you're getting better off you're going to be.
That's right.
But it's not all about that. I definitely think it's about personal experience and then also how you portray the information. You know, a lot of these people, you got to kind of dumb it down for them. You got to make it, put yourself in their shoes and try to think how they think. And that'll help you figure out the best way to explain it to them. Because a lot of times, let's say I know something about AI and you're like, you don't know. I'm going to go and try to explain to you the way I think about it. But in your mind, you're like, you don't think like that, you know? So it might be hard for you to comprehend. But if I can understand the way you're thinking and where you're coming from, and then I can explain my information in that way for you to understand, right? Then it's a lot more seamless, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. So, and now you're leveraging, like you start like a new company, I think, the sport
yeah, it's
company.
Called Known4.
Right. It's you have another one that's Known4 Sports, right?
Known4 Sports.
So what you do with that? Like what you offering?
So the thing we're trying to do with Known4 is like the brand, right? So imagine, let's say, you know, you have Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola owns, of course, Coca-Cola, but they own Sprite, you know, they own the candy companies and everything. So it's like Known4 is like the overhead portfolio. But then we're going to have Known4 Sports, which we already started, where we have Known4 Media, we'll have Known4 Comedy, Known4 Tools, Known4 AI. Wonderful. So it'll be a bunch of different pages, a bunch of different, you know, businesses under one parent business.
Like an umbrella, like that.
Exactly. Like so Known4 is the overall umbrella.
Right now, Known4, what it does for artists, what it does for business owner, what type of service that you guys provide?
Yeah, so we have I like to say two sides of the business, right? The front-facing side, we do a lot of talent relations. So, you know, stuff with like Lanta, we do a lot of events for him, you know, whether it's going to Dubai, doing a speaking event, doing Art Basel, working with F1 or Coachella, and we do events. You know, we also do a lot of monetization on like Snapchat and Facebook. We manage a lot of people from like Mario, Tyreek Hill, and we manage their social media accounts on like Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube, because a lot of these people, they don't, like, for instance, Snapchat they pay the most money on any platform. But a lot of people have a hard time building up their audience on Snapchat and getting into the monetization program. It's a very like small group of people that can make money on Snapchat. Right. So we have we introduce those artists to those connections, and we help them grow outside of just the traditional Instagram and TikTok, you know, across all platforms.
So you guys help people to actually monetize their content as a creator, right? Or you help, because I mean, I see you, as you said, like you're helping Atlanta, you're helping these people. So all this goes for them to make extra money or to make more money from their talent and their creation.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like at the end of the day, everything is about sales, right? Everyone wants more sales. Yep. So no matter what business you're in or what service you're providing, if you can help people get more sales, then you're doing a good job, you know? Nice. So yeah, we take like the traffic we get from those platforms and we push it towards other things. You know, for instance, Tyreek Hill, he has his brand called Soul Runner. It's like his athlete brand, right? So he has a store out here in Aventura. So we do a lot of posting on Snapchat about that Soul Runner. So it's almost like a way, cross promotion.
That's
You know, we're
powerful.
cross promoting.
That's,
But we
that's
don't
a
only
genius
just,
way, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know?
That's big time.
And it's not that, like, we do things where we help creators get funded on YouTube, you know?
Right.
Where-
And I don't know that a lot. I mean, to be honest, this is the first time I know that Snapchat is pay the most. I don't know that.
Snapchat and
You know?
YouTube, yeah.
And people, I know about YouTube, but I never heard. And I have like maybe 1% I focus in my life about Snapchat. I mean, after this conversation, I'm going fucking big time, you know, which is great. So there is a lot of money happen in this like in this business, right? There is transaction in and out. You make money. I believe you lost money. We all did.
Of course.
So what money means to you today?
Man, money is just like, it's an object at the end of the day. For me, money is like materialistic too. It's like people always say, like, oh, like how cars or houses are materialistic. In my opinion, money is materialistic too. I know plenty of people that they don't care about money.
Right.
They just live their life. They're happy with what they're doing. You know, whether that's working a regular 9-to-5 job or just, you know, I mean, I give back to the homeless a lot. I meet plenty of homeless people that say like they choose to live on the streets because they don't have to worry about money. You know, it's like no stress. So for me, it's really just like a tool and an object. Like I'll be fine with or without money. You know, I'll be happy. I'm a big nature person. Like I can just, I don't need the money. Of course, it's going to help things easier. You want to take care of your family, your loved ones. You want to go travel. But it's not necessarily like people make their life all about money. And, you know, I always like to say, like, if you chase money, money's going to run away.
All the time.
You know?
That's a fact. It's like a dog, you know, if you're running from the dog always going to follow you. And I think it's if the intention always about money, you will not be happy. Like there is nothing can fulfill you on any stage. Because how many people has a lot of money and they have sometimes a miserable life. I still like money though. I still respect money as an energy, you know, because we all use it. We all like working to have like a better life, and it's part of it is to have bigger amount of money. So.
And my thing, if you have money, extra money, the first thing you should do is invest back in yourself. You know.
Right.
Invest back in your business, in your personal brand. You know, invest in your health. You know, go pay for a nice expensive gym membership. Go pay for a personal trainer. Like. That's most important, because if you don't have your health, then money don't mean nothing.
That's right.
If you got $10 billion, but you die tomorrow, who cares?
That's true.
You know?
I mean, nobody cares, but people who are going to be happy after you because you money, you know?
Like, I think I'll be a lot happier if I'm like just, you know, healthy and wake up blessed every day than I will be if I just have an abundance of money and I'm unhealthy and I'm not happy, you know?
That's true. I mean, if they give you an option to have $1 million, I see it one time on like a guy, he's doing a TikTok on the street. It's like, if I give you $1 million today, but you can't wake up tomorrow, are you gonna take it?
No.
It's like, no way, you know. And this is a crazy, brother. So by you doing all this work, you know, growing up in San Francisco, moving to LA, then you came to Miami, you create a great community. You know, I saw you with a lot of big names. And everybody has always like a great, like always, oh, he's the guy, he's great, he's the energy. So what you learn from all this experience that you have? What's your biggest lesson that you came out, like you take away?
My favorite one is always treat everyone the same, with the same respect, you know, because like, I like to live, like, let's say, okay, I'm talking to, you know, the cashier at the grocery store.
Right.
And 5 years from now, that cashier might be the owner of $1 billion company.
Fact.
So it's like, if you treat everyone with the same respect, and I'm all about like the laws of the universe, you know, and I think what comes around goes around, and how you treat people is how you're going to get, you know, treated, and whether it's now or in the future. So my main thing is just, you know, treat everyone with respect and give everyone a chance. You know, you can learn something from everyone. I've learned so many things from people that are below me, above me, or at the same level. You know, no one ever knows it all. So my biggest thing is just, like I said, get out there and meet people and treat everyone the same, because you just never know where someone's going to be. And
that's powerful.
Relationships are everything. Networking, relationships.
That's what you have, right? It's who you know, not what you have, right? That's
yes.
And I saw like, since even like the last script you've been in, and right now when I get into your room, you always have the word of affirmation everywhere you go. So what that means to you though?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I believe big in that, like the manifestation, affirmations. I think the more you say something, whether you say it out loud or think it to yourself, and the more you visualize something, you see it, like, the more it's going to come true. Of course, now, I'm not that person where, oh, you just manifest stuff and things are going to happen magically. No, like, you got to put in the work.
True.
You know, but if you put in the work and you're able to visualize these things, I wake up every day, you know, I go to my mirror and I say, you know, I am the best version of myself and I'm getting better every day. You know, I have those affirmations on my wall: happy, healthy, blessed, busy. Like, if you wake up every day and that's like around you, like it's only going to lead to greatness, you know, with the work.
Because you are the greatness, my brother.
Yeah, you know, like
big time, bro.
I know plenty of people that are also like, and that's another thing. It's never too late. Like I know plenty of people that are 35 and like, oh, I'm so old now, I can't do anything with my life. Like, no, you got so much. Like, start now. There's plenty of time.
True.
You know, like for instance, I love using like Samuel L. Jackson. He didn't get his first like movie role till he was like 50 years old.
Wow.
And now he's like a legend. He's like one of the greatest of all time.
Grant Cardone, he posted like 3 days ago on his Instagram. He said, remember that Walt Buffett, he made his wealth after 90% of his wealth after 50. Mm-hmm. He's like, he have it on his notes, and he screenshot it and he posted on Instagram. I'm like, damn, like, because I mean, Grant, he made the first million after 50, you know? I think he was 50, right? Mm-hmm. When he first. So I think, yeah, it's never too late, especially when you're creating impact, not wealth, you know?
Yeah.
I really believe in impact. I believe like how I'm touching people and what I'm making my money from, because there is a lot of way to make money, you know? Mm-hmm. And if you like cheating to make it, you know, as you say, whatever goes around comes around. So I can't afford it. There is energy that I can't really afford.
Exactly.
You know? I can't step into it because I don't know what's the outcome.
And that's another thing too. Like I know, I mean, I know plenty of people that they don't have that mindset like that, you know?
Yeah.
And you can tell, I mean,
I think the ego is really like, it's really big. Like I don't know, he sell people things so easy. Like sometimes I feel, so there is 2 egos that I learned about. There is an ego that puts you down. They don't, like people sometimes they want you to be humble. I mean, nobody asks you to be humble. You have to know your worth. Mm-hmm. Humble, that's mean to put yourself under what your worth is just for the environment to feel okay with it. And that's not true. I mean, you are who you are. They have to put themselves up, you know, you made the inspiration for them. Another ego is the one that he's like, he feel like he's above everybody because whatever he got or whatever he think or whatever he looked like. And I think in my perspective, this is the biggest challenge to myself in the past. Mm-hmm. And now the biggest enemy I've seen everybody around. Sometimes like, with respect, I feel like there is so much people, that's what is stopping them from being as you said, the best version of themselves. So who's your biggest like inspiration right now? Who inspire you today?
Man, I have a lot of them. Like I'm not necessarily one to like choose one person.
Right.
But one person I do love, I say, is Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Because I think he embodies that. Like I say, he talks to, like I said, he talks to all different types of people. You know, like he doesn't have like a podcast where it's like, okay, just the one type of person. It's like everyone, no matter what they're doing. I've just learned so many cool things on there, and I feel like he's always, and I love USC too, of course. But like I said, I mean, you can see where he started in USC. He's always been that person, like I said, that I feel like I am always just talking to people, meeting people, networking. Right. And you know, he's positive vibes. Yeah. He's a humble guy. Like, you know, he's one of the greatest to do commentating ever. And he's very humble, you know?
Right. And the way like, even his studio, bro, like, you know, sometimes when you look to his, like, man, he just have it like super simple. And just making the biggest, his numbers right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, that's powerful.
So
do you have another name? Just
simplicity is key.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I will say.
Simplicity is key. That's fact.
I love Gary Vee too.
Gary Vee is
Gary Vee. I mean, I know we've known Gary for a couple of years now. Like him and his whole team. Like he's the same type of person. I remember I went to his VCon this year in LA. Like they do their big event everywhere, and I shit you not, he had probably a line of like 250 people each day waiting in line to speak to him. Wow. And he would stand there for like 6 hours each day and just like talk to each person for like 5 minutes.
Wow.
And it's like, because he understands the value. Someone might be waiting in that line where they might have a cool business idea. He's like, oh, actually, I want to invest in this, or I want to be a part of it, you know? And
maybe somebody who like his life actually depend, and his family and his kids' life depend on this answer, you know? Mm-hmm. Like somebody who has a company and they need one information, they may, elevate or go broke. Mm-hmm. And that's what, man, that's 6 hours. That's powerful, man.
Yeah. And I love, because Gary Vee always keeps it real too. He tell you how it is, even if you don't want to hear it, No, I love his V-Friend stuff that he does, with all his characters. I mean, yeah, his whole message is great. He's so consistent too. And he's one of those people too, where like he has balance where, a lot of people say nowadays, like, oh, like if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you got to just be locked in 24/7. You can't do anything. Can't go have it, but like he's very like opposite. He thinks like, no, he's like, if you want to work hard and stuff and then go have a dinner or go hang out with your friends on a Saturday, it's not going to make or break your entrepreneurial career.
True.
You know? Yeah. So I feel like in a way, he's helping normalize it a little bit, where I feel like in the last couple of years, people view entrepreneurship as so like extreme, like has to be like pedal to the wall all the time. Right. But like a lot of times, you know, think about like in a real life analogy. If you have all the way gas, no brakes all the time, you're going to crash.
You're going to crash for sure.
Or you're going to run out of gas.
True.
One of those, yeah, there's going to happen first. But if you use the brake and you know how to use the brake here and there, so when you're making a turn and slow down, like that's how you be successful. You know, I think that same, it applies to entrepreneurship too. Like it's not just all gas all the time. You got to learn how to take a day off, you know, or go enjoy your friends.
Meditate.
The balance.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I believe in the intention. We receive the energy of our intention, not the work we do. Mm-hmm. Like we may like make a lot of money, but the intention is bad, so the energy will come bad. Mm-hmm. And I think his intention when he started to help his family with the wine business. You remember, like Gary?
Yeah,
that's how he started. And I think this is the biggest. Like that's why he inspired me big time. Because I mean, this is what I do for my family. I really like, my mom is one of the biggest inspiration in my life. And I think this is what all the time I want to like become the one that she can really proud of. You feel me? So I think when he did it, and that's why I'm doing this podcast too, because he has Gary in Arabic and Indian and Hebrew and everything.
Like Mr. Beast too.
You know? Yeah. So I'm like, bro, this guy, he know what he's doing. And I'm like, I have to do something in English. Yes, man. Gary is like, we appreciate you big time. You did a lot for everybody.
Yeah. And then one more I'd say is the host of Diary CEO podcast. You know Diary CEO?
No.
It's probably my favorite podcast out.
Yeah.
So they just have Mr. Beast on there. I mean, they have everyone from Gary Brecka, Mr. Beast to, you know, people that we don't know, but they're like very successful in their field.
Right.
And it's like always such informational stuff. But just the questions he asks are so good.
Yeah.
And the way he's always willing to learn, like he's been in a room with so many important people, you know?
Right.
And he's still always like open to learning. You can tell when he like does a podcast, he truly listens, you know, because there's a difference between listening and really listening. A lot of people say they're listening, but they're not.
They're just acting like they're listening.
Exactly.
That's true. I think caring is if you care, you will listen. Like you really listen if you care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're just listening, you're just making a deal. Right?
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta, but that's the point. Like when you're being an entrepreneur, you gotta care sometimes, even when you don't care.
Right.
You know, because like if you're gonna go and learn a new skill or something new for your business, you might not care to, but you better act like you do because you want to learn it. You know.
And I think. I don't know. I think also like in the entrepreneur level is fake. Like, a lot of people, I was fake until we make it. I think is like you have to be it. We've just been talking with DJ also. Like you have to be it. You can't fake it. Like people can't feel that energy. You know. Mm-hmm. Like right now when you say real meet real, I think this is really true. Like we attract who we are, right? And you can feel the people who's like really real or not because you have the sensor in you. Mm-hmm. This is what I appreciate about you, brother. You always been real to everybody. Since day one I met you, you always been real. You always inspire. You always inspire me. You always growing, doing things, and I'm like, yo, this guy is like on God level. So I really appreciate you.
Of course, brother. No, I mean, like I said, I always just try to be like a good person overall, you know? Right. If nothing else,
you're not trying,
nothing else happens in my life, at least I'll leave and I know people will say good things about me. Right. That's the most important for me. Like, that's why I love Chadwick Boseman. I don't know if you know, he's the actor. He was the Black Panther.
Right.
And he passed, he had colon cancer, whatever. He died young, but everybody like, there's not one person that would say a bad thing about him, you know? And like, I think that's so important. It's pure, you know?
Legacy.
That's pure energy.
That's a legacy.
Yes, legacy. That's like, and he didn't even tell anyone he had cancer. He like kept it secret because he didn't want to, you know, he didn't want people to feel bad for him or treat him differently. He wanted just people to know him as Chadwick, you know. Wow. So I've always tried to just, I don't try. I always just be.
What's your message to the world now? Like what you. Like if you have like something within and you want to like just put it out there and you want people to hear it and maybe change or make something in their life, what's your message?
I got a couple. One of them is just you gotta find. I know so many people that like they don't have a passion. You know, you gotta have a passion. Like whether it's a general passion, like helping people. Like there's so many ways you can help people in the world. So if that's your passion, then fine. Now you have a lot of alternate routes to go help people. Sure. Or if your passion is playing music, then of course you're limiting yourself to music, but at least that's your passion. and mix your passion with taking risks. You know, a lot of people, I know this is very generic, but you got to take the risk. You got I put it all on the line, you know what I mean?
That's true.
I had to sell my car. I had to do all types of shit, man. Plenty of times where I couldn't pay rent and stuff. And yeah, I could have went and gotten a job at McDonald's and go, okay, let me pay the bills. But like, that's not going all in. You know, you got to go all in yourself, invest back in yourself and to believe, you know, like I said, that's why I love these manifestations and stuff in my room, because, you know, if I wake up one day and I'm not feeling the right energy, whatever, I feel down, I look at that stuff, I'm like, all right, I'm right back on track.
Right.
You know, I don't need anyone else to tell me, like, I know. So I definitely say just, you know, find your passion, because I think once you find your passion, that'll lead you to being a lot more successful, because now you're actually enjoying what you're doing. That's you know? True. Secondly, which is kind of along the same lines, like I said, what do you want to be known for? You know, that's the name of my business. That's why we love the name Known4, because it's like, what do you want to be known for as a person? Like, so me, I want to be known for having that reputation that everyone, like I said, no one will say anything bad about me. That's what I want. That's what I want to be known for. Is no one say I have that legacy reputation. I'm a good person. Someone else might want to be, like I said, known for being a football player, or someone wants to be known for doing this, you know? So it's like, you got to just find that. And as soon as you find that and hone in on it, go in on it. Because that's the thing. I would say a lot of people, they spend a lot of time, like, which is not bad. Try different things. You know, you might not figure out, like, I got blessed. I figured out my passion when I was a young kid. But I think the sooner you find that passion and what you want to be known for, and you hone in on it and go all in, like, that's the most important.
That's a really different level.
You'll get there, you know? And it's like, I always say the only way to fail is to quit.
This is the only way to give up, right?
Yeah.
To quit. And I think about passion, like, in my perspective, what you're just saying right now, it means a lot to me, bro, because when you're already not doing it from passion level, you're actually taking, you know, like, you're working to take. You want to take money, you want to make stuff. So you're not you're not operating from a place to give. But when you're passionate about it, you know, I'm doing music, let you listen to this one, you know. When you're passionate about marketing, like I was also like having conversation. When I'm really passionate about helping people to have a better life quality. You know, this is something I love to do, you know, to see somebody who have a better thing just because what I help, you know, or what my energy done to them. So when I do marketing, I don't think about just the money he's going to make, how his family will be after this money, you know, how his store, how his kids, he's like, how the life, he will be more confident. He will have more time with his kids. So I think passion is really something is really powerful to have in life as a man. It's so disrespectful to yourself to work from like lack, and you need it, you know, because you are the greatness. You don't need nothing. You just need to provide value, and God got you. Like, you're gonna get paid regardless for your value.
Yeah, see, I agree with the value part too. You know, like I always say, like I said earlier, networking and your connections is the most important thing. But if you can't provide value to those people in some way, then it's just a person.
Worthless.
You know, like, for instance, you know, of course you're going to have your family or loved ones, but you don't have to provide value. That's all love, of course. But you need to figure out a way to provide value, whether that's going to be in a business way where, hey, I'm going to go help you with the service, or I'm going to connect you to this person and help you, or maybe it's just on a personal level, just being a friend, talking, you know, like, but you got to provide value in some sort of way.
True.
You know?
That's a fact, man.
Like I said, it doesn't always have to be money related.
Right.
It can be just friendship related, or, you know, just being there for a lot of people. Like I just did this homeless give back I do every Saturday with my friends company called Love is on the Streets out here in Fort Lauderdale. So it's like give back. You know, we donate food and clothes every week and stuff. We pray with everyone and just, you know, spread good energy. And a lot of these people, they just want to be talked to, you know, they just want to be treated like a human, like say hello, how you doing, you know? So
that's a blessing, man. I love that. I mean, to be honest, I was thinking about that so many times, but I promise I would do that.
Yeah, come.
Because I always want to help, like, but I always feel like, oh yeah, I will make time. Because one time I was in New Orleans and St. Charles, and I was so rushed, like so in a rush, man. And this car in front of me, he's not moving. I'm like, yo, you have to. And then he's like, no, man, I'm gonna move now. He opened the trunk and he started giving the food to everybody. I'm like, man, what you doing? I feel so shame at that minute. I'm like, bro, you have to come down. I respect this guy doing what you not even thinking to do.
Yeah.
So he really inspired me. And now when you said it, bro, you like, I will do that. I really will. Yeah,
like I said, perspective. You know, like everyone's so worried about, like, oh, what I'm doing or what I gotta go be here. But it's like, no, just think about other people for a sec.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that, like, let's say 100 years ago, 200 years ago, like people, like they cared about other people more so. Nowadays it's more like, oh, me.
True. And to be honest, it takes me a little time too. Like, because when I first started like making like some money, and I was a taxi driver. Like when I started, like when I first came here, I came like a refugee, man.
Mm-hmm.
I have like no English, no money, nobody. I don't just like jump into the plane. I'm here, 2016, man. Wow. I have like 8 years ago. So I'm like, so I'm like helping my mom, my family. I'm like, this is a must, brother. Like, this is like something that you must to do. Don't feel like you're already great because you're just doing it. Like, like this is something, it's basic.
Yes.
So you have to go like bigger than your circle. And honestly, at that time, I started to think bigger than myself. Like, I'm like, okay, so I'm making this money. It's good, but it's not enough. Not because it's not enough for me. It's like there is more people that I can be providing to. If I take the initiative or responsibility, that I am that giver who want to be part of the solution. And bro, you, like I told you, always inspire me, brother.
Thank you, brother. I try,
Yeah.
I think like I said, it's about this.
If you're trying, you're lying. You're doing it. Now. You feel me? You're doing it. I see you.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. So give yourself that credit because you're doing it. So do you have like a book that's really inspired you somewhere, somehow? And you can maybe...
Yeah, my favorite book definitely is Good to Great by Jim Collins.
What's the name of the book?
Good to Great.
Okay.
So basically, it's like they did a whole research project over like, I forget how, like years and years. This is like in the 1990s. Right. And they researched companies that outperformed the stock market. So, let's say the average return was, I don't know, let's just say, for example, 10% a year, right? So they took those companies that were doing 100% return each year and dug deep and interviewed the CEOs and like figured out why are these companies greater than they are good. And they started to realize that a lot of these companies, like they were at the same rate as the stock market, but then they call them level 5 CEOs. A level 5 CEO came into the company and basically turned it around.
Wow.
So the book talks about Good to Great, how are you going to bring your company from a good company to a great company.
Wow, that's nice.
And there's a lot of aspects, one like says becoming a level 5 leader and what it takes to be a level 5 leader. Kind of the things we're talking about, putting yourself in other people's shoes and understanding, like if you're talking to all your employees and stuff, think where they're coming from, not just where you're coming from as the CEO of the company.
No, I agree.
A lot about, another one is the hedgehog concept.
Okay.
And the 3 circles, right? So imagine you have like the 3 circles in the middle. Let's say the left is like complete opposite of what you're doing as a business. The right side is exactly what you're doing as a business. And the middle is like that middle ground, right? So it's about like finding ways to improve your business without completely just redoing the pillars, like the core foundation of the business, because these people that when they're CEOs and they got dropped into this business had already been around,
Right.
Like for instance, the CVS one, that's a great CVS, when they started doing all these, I think it was Walgreens actually, when Walgreens started doing all these supermarkets,
right.
Like there were some grocery stores that didn't do that. They're like, oh no, this is not going to work. But putting a Walgreens on every corner around America, like, no, it's wild. But Walgreens realized that it was more so about owning the real estate than it was just having these businesses. So, like they didn't open these stores same thing as McDonald's. They didn't open all these restaurants because they wanted to sell more, because they own the land now. And the land is obviously the most powerful thing.
Absolutely.
There's another examples of companies using new technologies, right? Especially like with AI, I think this is very important. You don't want to necessarily just like tear down all your business and just implement AI and expect it to run the same. It's like, no, you have to like implement it in a certain way without just completely redoing your business.
That's
anyway,
powerful,
so Good to Great, like I said, by Jim Collins, best book. I mean,
and I will read this book, to be honest, because I have like one of my affirmations I said to myself every time. I'm ready to sacrifice the good for the great. That's something I say to myself every day. So I'm like, I win every day, every time, in every situation. But when it comes to good, no, I'm good. I want the great, like in health wise, let's say in the food, even like, some people, it's a good meal. I'm like, no, bro, if you good meal, you can't eat it. I want a great meal. I want something that's harmonized or aligned with my energy, and I think we are like greatness, and we have this type of like really good energy that we have to care about it. So even every level, I think, this is a powerful one, brother.
Good to Great by Jim Collins, my favorite. And then also the other one I'd recommend is How to Buy Your Time Back. That one's by Dan Martell.
What does it talk about?
How to buy your time, basically how to get your time back as an entrepreneur. there's so much to do when you're growing a business and stuff. And so it just talks about like delegating tasks and, you know, setting aside time for, you know, your family and meditation and really how to buy your time back, because obviously time is the most important asset on earth.
So that's all what we have.
Yeah.
We have nothing else. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years now?
In the next 5 years, I'll be kicking up on a beach in Turks and Caicos.
That's good.
running my business from my phone. No, but I mean, honestly, like I love traveling. So I want to go travel. I mean, obviously we want to grow the agency.
Right.
I want to grow Known4 a lot. And I want to expand into a lot of other industries as well. Like that's one thing, kind of like what we talked about earlier, there's so many ways to make money. Yeah. And it's like, I always knew that, but now I'm really in the thick of it. I'm like, wow, there's so many ways. Like people are texting me every day, oh, I got this opportunity, you know? And that's why I said networking relationship is so important, because there's never a time that you shouldn't have a way to make money, you know? It doesn't mean it might take a couple months, but if you're always going to have that opportunity, if you know the right people and you have that right reputation where people are like, you know, I'm going to think of Shane, he's a good person, he can help me with this. You know, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
so in 5 years, definitely just more international, I think. You know, obviously, you know, I do quite a lot of work in Dubai and stuff. I'm going to go to Bali. I want to expand down to South America too.
Right.
But really just grow the agency and continue just to spread, like I said, good energy, positive energy.
The greatest.
You know?
You deserve it, bro. And I see you there already. I know you got it. I mean, you got whatever it takes to be there. My last question. Do you believe skill or mindset? Skill is more important than mindset, or mindset more important than skill?
It's a good one. I like that one. I would say mindset for sure.
Mindset's right.
I always like to think like, okay, perfect example for myself. I was really talented at playing the drums, you know, growing up. That's why I did it my whole life.
Right.
I could still go sit down at a drum set right now and play jazz music, rock music, Latin music, you know, put on a song, I can most likely play along with it. Like, but I never had the mindset to want to be the greatest at being the drummer. I never wanted to spend the extra time in doing that. I wanted to, you know, go spend my, you know, exactly. Right. So I think you could be the most skilled person at anything, but if you don't have the mindset or the want to really accomplish that, then it's just going to be, you know, I always like to use a music example. Like I know plenty of super talented artists, but they don't have the right mindset of, you know, how like, you know, how much work this is going to take and what they have to do to get there. Sure. And so they never succeed. But I know plenty of artists that just aren't that talented, but they have that mindset and that idea how to market. And so they succeed more so than those people.
And I think even like when you hear Tony Robbins or Bob Proctor, God bless his soul, and even like Eric Thomas, I think like, as you just say, there is so much artists, there is so much athletes, there is so much like Michael Jordan right now, they're playing, you know, somewhere, but they don't have the mindset and the belief that they really can like manifest it or become it, because they always have the lack. And I truly believe, as what you said, mindset is more important than skill.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
Sean, you are the greatest man alive. You already know that.
Thank you.
So why do you think marketing is important in business?
I mean, I think marketing is important in business, obviously, because you need more leads and more sales, right? And how you're going to get those leads and sales is through marketing, whether it's word of mouth. If I'm telling you about my business, I'm still marketing my business. Or if I'm, you know, running an ad online, I'm still telling you about my business. Right. But the thing is, it's never changing, right? Marketing is like never ending, especially with all of these new technologies. Is like, it'd be dumb of you to think like, oh, this marketing plan is working for me now, so in 2 years it's going to be working. Like, no, it's not, you know. In a couple months it'll change. You're going to have to, you know, that's why people pay a lot of money for ad managers and stuff, because their ad might be doing good for a couple of weeks, but then now they got to go in the system and completely change the stuff because, you know, the algorithm is different or the views, like it's never ending. And that's what I love about marketing. It's like, it's always a challenge. Like I said earlier, I love challenging myself. I think if I don't have a challenge or something I'm like working towards, like life gets pretty boring.
True.
You know what I mean?
Fact. And today they believe that content is the king. Why that? Like, why content is the king nowadays? I
think content is king, but I think it's honestly more about what you do with the content. So I just spoke on a panel in Dubai. It's called Billion Follower Summit.
Yeah, everybody know about it.
They have it. So for those of you that don't know, it's put on by the UAE government. They have it once a year, and they basically bring all the biggest creators from all over the Middle East, some from outside the Middle East as well. And not only creators, but business people too that work in the industry. And it's a big just summit, and people have panels, you know, they have a lot of pop-up activations. It's amazing, really. It's once a year in Dubai. Anyway, I spoke on a panel, and the topic was why content is king, but why it's more important to make like a community or a movement out of your content instead of just making content.
Sure.
And I think it's so important now because with content, it is king, but you need to have like a movement or a reason, you know, like people, like storytelling, authenticity, like you need to have a real reason or why, like this person should support you. Like, why are they listening to you? But probably because, you know, you've connected with them in some certain way. So the more you have that strong community, you know, it's like a thing about like a fan base. It's really like a fan base from music. I love Post Malone. He started out making like rap music, like weird rap music, you know?
Right.
And then, but he's always stayed so authentic and always had such good content and storytelling that he's able to grow that community and that fan base. Now he can make country music and people still support him because he has that community and that fan base.
And I mean, story always sells, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays a lot more, especially, I mean, I feel like, you know, commercials and big companies have always been good at storytelling, but now it's like bleeding over really into the short form content on social media.
My last question, what is the biggest investment that the entrepreneurs have to do?
Invest in yourself.
Like like how can I invest in myself?
Like I said earlier, get to the gym, you know, wake up 30 minutes earlier, eat healthier, you know, go out this weekend and make it a goal, make it a goal that you have to go meet 10 new people. Like the small things, it's not always about, spending a lot of money and, you know, doing all this. Like, it's like the small things that you can do, like I said, to get 1% better every day. I always like to say, you know, I'm still in the meeting. That's my saying. Because anything I do, I'm still in the meeting. Whether I'm if I'm at a restaurant or a club, I'm gonna make sure I connect with either the manager or someone else there, you know, or if I'm at the gym, I'm still in the meeting because I'm working on myself. If I'm in the kitchen cooking, I'm still in the meeting because I'm cooking healthy, trying to eat healthy. It's like the small things.
Right.
You know, I think that is the most important. Invest in yourself, but it doesn't always have to be necessarily like a big monetary thing. If you don't have a lot of money to work with, you can take these small steps every single day that will compound over time. Same thing as when you invest money in the stock market. Like the goal is to compound your money over years, right? That's the same thing when it comes to investing in yourself, is compounding, not just like, let me upgrade. It's not like a GTA server where you just go upgrade yourself and you're good. You know, it takes time.
That's fact. I mean, everything it takes time. And it takes effort too, right?
Yes.
Brother.
A lot of effort.
I appreciate your time, your wisdom, your energy, and it's a pleasure to have you here. And I really appreciate you big time. You already know that.
Yes, sir. Blessings, brother. Glad to be part of the $1 billion table.
The biggest in the game. So I believe when you know better, you do better. And we're figuring it out together, because the more you know, the better you do. And the better you do, the more you have. And it's a circle. So you have to figure it out. I can't do everything for you, but I can bring great people to tell you what to do so you can take care of your family and do better. And remember, that's God first. And I will see you at the top. Let's go.